John Bishop, who's going to be talking about the Matchmakers Project. Sorry, my eyes are all misty. Lightening the load for Australia's animal rescue community. And I'm just going to turn the page and read his bio. John oversees all things tech at PetRescue. It's a big job, given that PetRescue is the most trafficked charity website in Australia, serving around 100 million pages to 4.5 million visitors in 2016 alone. John has launched several other companies, consulted for some of Australia's largest companies spanning mining, insurance, banking and other industries, and has over 20 years' experience in the IT industry. John regularly speaks at animal welfare and digital media conferences around Australia and internationally. He's been awarded the EY Social Entrepreneur of the Year Award and 3 40 Under 40 awards. All these young people. So if you'd like to welcome to the stage, please, John Bishop.
Thanks very much, Anne. Hi, everyone. I know it's getting late in the day, so I thought we'd start off with a little experiment. If I could ask everybody to stand up for me, please. Try very gently to move this. Okay, we're good. Thanks, guys. Okay. If I could ask everybody whose surname does not begin with A to sit down, please. Okay, if it's not your birthday today, could you sit down, please? Oh, come on. It's actually Tasha Andrews from our team. It's her birthday today, everyone. So if you could give her a bit of a clap. I'm never going to hear the end of that. It's going to be tough to follow that last presentation from Miles. It's really fantastic and emotive stuff, and also, frankly, his beard is a lot better than mine, so tough. But I'll see what I can do. So I'm here to talk about the Matchmakers Project, which is making the adoption process easier for the animal rescue community and every adopter. Oh, good, that works. I just had a pretty great introduction, so I don't need to repeat all of that. I've been part of PetRescue since we launched in 2004. To give you some context, it's the same year that Facebook launched. Possibly should have launched Facebook instead, but hindsight is 2020. I'm a tech guy by background, and I've worked in a heap of different industries: marketing, banking, advertising, insurance, mining, medical. By far, animal welfare is the best out of all of those. So I bring all the experience that I gathered in those many other jobs and industries to PetRescue. PetRescue is a national animal welfare charity that connects thousands of pet seekers to rescue groups and rescue pets every single day. As I said, we've been around since 2004. We just turned 13 last month. And we've had a pretty big impact in that time. And as Anne mentioned, PetRescue is the most visited charity website in Australia, which is something I'm particularly proud of, going up against some of the much larger charities that are out there. We have grown 25% year on year in terms of site visitors and site traffic every year since we've launched. And now, every day, there's around 20,000 individual people visiting the PetRescue website and looking for a pet. That's a pretty huge number, and a lot of people out there seeking a new family member. This had a really big impact in helping pets find new homes as well. So back in 2004, we helped our members rehome 527 pets. And now we're helping our members rehome around 90,000 pets every single year. So just a couple more stats. So around just shy of 5 million unique Australian visitors come to PetRescue every year. We now see around 250 pet searches happening on the website every single minute, which is a crazy stat. We never used to be able to track that, and when we suddenly were able to, we were a little surprised and shocked. And we see around 480 online inquiries generated for pets that are in care of our rescue group members every single day. And I'm going to come back and talk about that more. Each month our members rehome around 3,000 dogs and around 4,000 cats, roughly. We know there's a whole bunch of other challenges facing cat adoption specifically, and we have a number of different programs that we're running that are focused on increasing the number of cats rehomed, as we know there's a lot out there needing to find new homes. What's interesting is now we're finding on the PetRescue website, demand actually exceeds supply. So there's many, many more pet seekers visiting PetRescue than there actually is pets available for adoption. We still hear the old adage that there's not enough homes and there's too many pets. We know that's not the case. We've got the numbers to prove it. We know the demand is there, and we know that the bottleneck is actually on the supply side. This is Lizard. She belongs to one of our team in Perth. Fantastic dog. So back when we launched PetRescue in 2004, one of the biggest issues that we was facing rescue back then was the public attitude to rescue pets. People thought that rescue dogs were broken, they were abused, they were aggressive, and just generally bad. They were bad animals. If you took on a rescue pet, you were a martyr. You were taking on somebody else's problem. We've seen that attitude change hugely in the 13 years that we've been running, thanks to the tireless efforts of the rescue community, and in part to what we've been doing as well. People understand now that rescue pets are no different than pets acquired from any other source. And in fact, people like me think that they're far better. I know my rescue dog is far better than any other dog out there. Might be a little biased. Now, a little bit controversial, but what we're sort of talking about today is the biggest barrier to adoption is actually the rescue organisations themselves. Please don't throw anything at me yet. I'm not saying that rescue groups are the problem. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that's where there's a bottleneck in the process. We know that some rescue groups, they are a small minority, but we know some rescue groups can be a little bit hard to deal with, and they can be exclusionary. They don't want to rehome pets to pretty much anyone, but that is a very, very small minority, and we understand that that's not the issue with most rescue groups. The fact is that it's a resourcing issue. I'm going to use the case of Daisy. And Daisy is an 8-year-old poodle. She was listed on PetRescue a couple of months ago. And she, this was the actual photo that was listed on Daisy's profile. And I'm sure Daisy's a lovely dog. I haven't actually met her myself, but it's not the most flattering of photos. I really wouldn't think it would get a whole lot of attention. I'm wrong. So she was listed for 2.5 months on PetRescue. In that time, her profile on PetRescue was viewed over 12,000 times. And this is in WA as well, so it's a smaller population than some of the bigger centres like New South Wales or Queensland. There was 136 online inquiries generated for Daisy from the PetRescue website. And this particular listing actually had the phone number listed as the preferred contact method. So we can assume there was actually a whole lot more inquiries generated. We don't track phone inquiries, we can't do that. But there was a lot of people attempting to adopt Daisy. We know that the vast majority of rescue groups in Australia, and certainly the rescue groups that use PetRescue services, are very small. They're run by volunteers in their spare time. They are under-resourced and pressed for time. There is the exceptions, your RSPCAs, AWLs, but the vast majority of rescue groups are small, community-run foster care networks. So dealing with this amount of inquiries, 136 plus phone inquiries, probably 150, maybe 200 inquiries for one dog would be absolutely overwhelming. Even if you've got email templates in place to communicate with people, even if you've got volunteers to help out getting back to people, it's still a hell of a lot of work. And this is only one pet. So the problem is sometimes people actually don't get a response. I'm going to run you through just quickly a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. This is from an inquiry that we received at PetRescue. I've been trying. No, sorry, wrong slide. I've made 3 attempts at adopting different dogs and been ignored all 3 times. I don't understand why I'm being ignored when I have the perfect home for a dog that needs one. I thought the dogs on this site were in need of homes. I've been trying over the last 12 months to adopt a dog, but every single time I inquire, fill out everything that is required, I've never once had a reply. Not one single time. I recently met a couple who applied for 15 dogs through PetRescue, and apparently they were not contacted once. They've subsequently purchased a purebred Australian Bulldog. This is crazy when there are so many dogs that need to be rehoused. And last one. Despite being enthusiastic to adopt and rescue, the process is particularly difficult, and often there is no reply to emails or messages. It's sad because ultimately it's the animals that suffer. I appreciate you have to match the right animal with the right person. However, I'd like to help and I haven't been able to. So these are not isolated examples. On any given day, more than half of the messages that our team deal with are complaints from people that haven't heard back from rescue groups. And this is after they've waited 5 days or 7 days or even longer to hear back. So we now find ourselves in a situation where we've successfully changed people's misconceptions about rescue animals. You know, they no longer think that they're bad animals. They know they make great family pets, and people want to do the right thing and adopt a pet. So they reach out to rescue groups about pets that they've seen on PetRescue or elsewhere, and then often experience frustration and disappointment when they're not able to adopt a pet or simply don't hear back at all. We understand that sometimes the level of interest shown in a pet can be overwhelming, particularly if they're a more desirable pet, like the poodle I showed earlier. And we want to do our best to set reasonable expectations for people that inquire about pets via PetRescue. So a few years ago, we implemented a system so that every time somebody inquires about a pet on PetRescue, we send them a tailored email explaining that the rescue pet is in the care of the relevant rescue group and that they may not receive a response to their inquiry immediately. Scroll down. This has also... it's also helped people understand PetRescue's role in the adoption process. PetRescue isn't a shelter or a rescue group. We provide support services, advertising and marketing tools for our members to help them get more exposure for their pets in their care. I don't know, well, you can probably read that okay. So this is an example of one of the automatic emails that goes out to anybody when they inquire about a pet on PetRescue. And it states really nice and clearly that the pet that they've inquired about is not with PetRescue, it's with a rescue group, and their inquiry has been passed on to that rescue group for that rescue group to get in touch with them. What we do as well is, in this email, we actually say that if you don't hear back from the rescue group within 5 days, to get in touch with us, and we'll follow up on that inquiry for you. So I know that for some groups, 5 days doesn't seem like a lot of time, particularly if you're busy and you've got a lot of inquiries coming in, you're caring for pets, maybe you've got another job. It's maybe not a lot of time, but you've got to remember this is a really emotional process for the inquirer. You know, they've been looking for pets on PetRescue, they've been scrolling through tens or dozens of pets, and they found the one, and they've sent this lovely inquiry off, and then nothing happens. And what else in life do you send off an inquiry about and then wait 5 days or 7 days or longer and not hear anything back at all? We also give them more information about what to expect moving forward. So we try to give them as much information and set as many expectations as we can to help with the adoption process. So you can see here, I won't go into great detail on this, but this goes out to everybody that inquires about a pet on PetRescue, and just trying to set those expectations up front. Unfortunately, despite these efforts, complaints from potential adopters not hearing back from rescue groups are by far the most common that our team deal with. This is no great surprise when you look at how adoption inquiries have increased over the last 5 years. So this graph shows adoption inquiries generated from PetRescue in the last 5 years. Around 15,000 inquiries generated each month now, and that's a growth of 650% in the last 5 years. And this is a challenge for us as well, because we've not changed the way these inquiries are handled within the PetRescue infrastructure during the entire time that we've been around. We just get the inquiry, we send an email off to the rescue group. So this issue has been becoming more and more pressing over the last few years, and we realised that something had to change. We sat down around a table, we thrashed out some ideas, and we came up with a solution. We know that our rescue group members are maxed out, and while getting lots of inquiries from people wanting to adopt is a good thing, it's also completely overwhelming. We also know that writing emails to those inquiries that aren't a good fit, essentially saying no to people over and over again, is really emotionally exhausting, which is why sometimes it just doesn't get done. That's not really fair to the people that have taken the time and effort to inquire about doing the right thing and adopting a pet. So these conversations have evolved into the Matchmakers Project. This is the biggest piece of work that we've undertaken on the website since we launched in 2004. It's a huge piece of work. The first part that we rolled out about 4 or 5 months ago, I think, was a new responsive website. We had to do this. More than 60% of the people that visit PetRescue use a smartphone or a tablet to do it. So we needed that process to work well, and also it gave us a really good base to build the rest of the Matchmakers platform on. It also makes all of the admin functions of PetRescue available on smartphones and on tablets. So if you're a PetRescue user and you haven't tried it on a phone or a tablet recently, give it a try. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you're not pleasantly surprised, let me know and I'll fix it. We also added in some new search filters and actually rebuilt the whole search process on PetRescue. So we've got a whole bunch of new stuff there. I haven't got time to talk about it all now, but feel free to come and have a chat with me afterwards, or any of our team that are here, and we can give you more information. The next stage of Matchmakers that we're about to start working, or we've actually started working on, is called Adopter Profiles. We're really excited about this because we realise that one of the biggest frustrations that rescue groups have is when they get an inquiry from PetRescue that says, I want to adopt Bruno. And this inquiry comes into the rescue group and you go, well, that's useless. That doesn't tell me anything. So that means you have to go back to that person, ask for more information. It's a bit of a back and forth conversation, and it shouldn't be that way. So what we're doing is actually allowing people that inquire about a pet on PetRescue to create a profile about themselves. They can provide information about their family, pets in their household, whether they own or rent, things like that. And that information, and photos as well of their property or their family yard and things like that. And that information will actually be sent with the inquiry when they apply for a pet on PetRescue. So this is designed to give rescue groups, shelters and pounds, all the essential information that they need to quickly assess and respond to adoption inquiries. For example, if the dog they're looking to adopt is bad with other dogs and the family already has another dog, you can immediately see this and say no. This will reduce the need for adopters to complete endless adoption forms for every single pet that might not be a good fit for them anyway. That's something that we know turns people away. It's another thing we get complaints about. People fill in a great big long adoption form, don't get a response because the pet wasn't a good fit for them. Because you get the adopter profile up front with the initial inquiry about the pet, you reduce the need to have every inquirer fill out that form. The key part of the Matchmakers project, the biggest part and the part we're most excited about, is the new inquiry management system. I'm going to give you a really, really quick overview of how this is going to work. So an inquiry is made about one of your pets listed on PetRescue. When that happens, we'll send the listing owner an instant notification via email like we do now, also with the option of SMS and a push notification to an app that we're building. I'm going to talk really quick. So this inquiry will include the adopter profile that I just talked about, which allows you or one of your team to quickly assess the inquirer and classify them as a no or a maybe. If it's a no, not a good fit for some reason, you can choose from a suite of pre-written messages to explain why they're not a good fit, or you can write your own if you'd like to, or if you want, you can just say no. It's simple as that. And we'll then let the inquirer know in a nicely worded email why they're not a good match for the pet. And we'll also include links to other pets that that we think might be a good fit for them. And in the case for no response, that's all you have to do. Just say no, we'll send an email back to them, and you're done. You don't have to take the time to write a no email, and we know that's something that can be quite difficult to do. If the group doesn't respond to the inquiry, we'll actually send a reminder to them, and we'll send that to other members within the group as well, just in case that person is ill or on holiday, something like that. So the best chance is given of that inquiry being seen and having a chance to respond to. So it gives you a really, really quick, easy, and much less emotionally stressful path to no. We do the heavy lifting for you. If you think a potential adopter might be a good fit, or think they might be a better fit for one of the other pets that you have available for adoption, then you can shortlist them, and you'll have a smaller, more manageable list of applicants to consider. You can then contact them and go through your normal application process. So basically, by shortlisting an inquirer, you can retain them and hopefully find them the right pet. When you shortlist someone, we'll send them another notification letting them know and just keeping them informed of the process. And if a shortlisted applicant is eventually not successful, you can just go through that no process and let them know. We'll make sure that all unsuccessful inquirers are given extra online assistance to help them progress their search for a new family member. So regardless of whether an inquirer is chosen as the eventual adopter or not, they can still have a really great experience. And it means that people get a response, either positive or negative, much sooner, meaning they're not waiting for days or weeks for a response that might not actually ever come. This means that the thousands of inquirers that currently never hear back from a rescue group about a pet that they want to adopt will know sooner, they'll have a better experience, and most importantly, they'll be much, much more likely to move forward and adopt another rescue pet, rather than going to a pet shop or a puppy farmer or a backyard breeder. I'll skip over these because I know I'm running pretty low on time. But what I've just talked about is kind of to do with PetRescue's core business, which is helping rescue groups find adopters for their pets in their care. We actually do a whole bunch of other stuff. It's all kind of listed here and on the next slide as well. I won't run through it all. We're a little low on time, but we've got a whole bunch of programs, and they're all designed with the benefit of helping our rescue group members get the most value and just helping them do what they do and continue to rehome pets. A few more programs here. I won't carry on much longer, but we do have a pet stock voucher, which I think you guys have been told about, which is pretty cool. I'm not responsible for this idea, so if anybody gets injured in this process, it's not on me. But apparently, under one of the seats, somewhere in here, there is a PetRescue sticker. And if you have a PetRescue sticker under your chair, you're the winner of the voucher. Or possibly, it's fallen off. Oh, we've got a winner. Fantastic. Congratulations. Awesome. I'll bring this down in a second. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate it. Feel free to get in touch with us at any time. We're always happy to talk to our members and also talk to anybody that's not a member or that would like to be. And there is a few of us here today and for tomorrow as well. So thanks very much.
To use the microphone. Now I'd like to invite our speakers from the last session onto the stage to answer any questions that you might have. And in the meantime, I'm going to cover quick housekeeping issues. If you haven't had your photo taken yet for the handshake board, tomorrow is the last day, so please get involved in that. Anyone needing transport to the Shelter Animal Behaviour Workshop on Saturday, see Nell or Rose Bray. There are still places available for the Shelter Medicine and Social Change workshops on Saturday. feedback for today's speakers. Someone's laughing. Is there something's on the internet? You're okay? I just always get paranoid when someone's laughing. I think, have I got my skirt tucked in somewhere wrong? Or anyway, radio. So feedback about any of the speakers today, please, there's an online link in your booklet, or there's hard copies available from the desk. And poor Kathy Beer, I didn't tell you this morning that it started at 8:30, so Kathy was here at 8 and ready to go, and nothing happened till 8:30. So that might give you the place to ask the first question.
Half hour tomorrow morning as well?
It starts at 8:30 tomorrow, so you can sleep a bit longer.
Okay, I'll adjust the alarm. Great.
Sorry, Kathy.
Oh, so no, Jackie was here first.
Yes, but I shortchanged your sleep. So.
All right, thank you. So it might be a bit of a question comment, and it's more directed to the AWL guys, and congratulations for all those wonderful, amazing initiatives that you've done. You touched, Aaron, on very quickly on emergency boarding and things, and I think that's something that's I found that we haven't really addressed here is, what services are there to help people who are in hardship, or I know RSPCA New South Wales has safe beds for pets for domestic violence, but I just felt there's probably been a bit of a gap in those services to provide people that emergency boarding or foster care for people who are going through those difficult times and change in circumstances, and they have a strong bond with their pet and they don't want to relinquish and surrender their animal to the pound. Or so yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing, and maybe some others in the room are doing some things as well that we haven't heard about.
Our emergency boarding is still reasonably limited, and it's on a case-by-case basis. So we usually offer it for around 2 weeks, and the emergency boarders do go into our shelter pen, so it is also determined on how full our shelter is at the time as well. So it is a case-by-case basis at this stage.
And Jackie?
I'd like to ask Barry, I'm really interested in you commenting, I knew from Sarah Zito, that you were doing some trap, neuter and return. Can you describe sort of the areas, locations you're doing it, the numbers of cats that you're desexing, how you're doing that, you're using a community liaison person, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I haven't been directly involved in it, but Chelsea Vigilant, who's the head of veterinary services in Auckland SPCA, has sort of been doing the research on that, and I think there's an area in Auckland City, which is a suburb where a lot of unknown cats come out of, and they have, I can't remember the stats, but they've noticed a huge decrease in cat numbers through being very targeted. And I think she mentioned around 70-80% a strike rate, if you like, of getting cats desexed to really start making a difference. So that's why we say managed targeted TNR, because there's also a group, I think Colony Cats Coalition or something in Auckland, which she's working with, that are managing that area as well. So I can send you the information if you want. I'm sure Chelsea will give it to me.
Yeah. And you're going to publish that soon?
I don't know if she's publishing it or not, but yeah, I've got a PowerPoint presentation on my laptop I can send you tonight, but yeah.
Right, good work.
Michael?
Hey, my question's to Miles. A lot of vets find their work, they're overworked, underpaid, they're stressed out from dealing with clients that don't have the money to afford the best quality care they want for their pets. Like, what's the experience of vets working in your hospitals, or how do they cope with those stuff?
I think that a lot of the vets that come to work for us are coming to work for us for that reason. So they're coming to work for us because they actually can do something for people that have no money or very, very little money. When we have situations where somebody needs something that we don't offer, we've been very successful with partnering with other veterinarians in the community who are willing to offer stuff beyond our scope. So I think I mentioned in the presentation that we've just started offering heartworm treatments last year, and we're starting to offer dentals now. But there's still a lot of stuff we don't do. And we have a low-cost, for-profit clinic that started in Austin, and we met their chief medical officer. We really liked him. We went and toured their clinic, and so we felt comfortable starting to refer stuff to them. That started about 2 years ago. since then, that clinic went from 3 days a week to 7 days a week and doubled their staff. Then they've opened 3 new locations in Austin and Houston, and they're basically running off of the clients that we refer to them. So it's kind of a mixed answer. The vets that work for us, I think they feel like the work is meaningful and it's more sustainable for them than turning people away on a regular basis, because they really get to say yes so often. But when they can't say yes, we have great partners in most of our communities, not all, but most of our communities, where we can refer people that really need that help.
Do they have to work like, it's like really super busy every day?
Oh yeah, the hours and the workload. It's interesting. So our spay-neuter veterinarians and our wellness veterinarians have very different jobs, but they get paid the same. The reason is that the spay-neuter veterinarians only have to work as long as it takes them to do 35 surgeries, which is usually about 5 hours. Our wellness veterinarians work more like 8 to 8.5 hour shifts. And honestly, our wellness vets, our healthy pet services vets, they most of them really love it. I think it takes a specific personality types. We certainly have people that come through that this isn't for them. Usually they come through and they watch one day and they're like, I'm not interested. But for the most part, the vets that come through and do it stay with us. We have a really great retention with our veterinarians, and they seem really, really happy. A lot of our vets that have come from, a lot of our wellness vets come from a corporate background doing Banfield, which is in the PetSmart Charities stores. And so we find that they are really good at the system of moving people through, because that's something that is prioritized at Banfield, but they weren't as happy with like sort of the culture and the overall feel of what they were doing there, and so they tend to do really well with us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we don't pay a ton, but we try to stay as competitive as we can.
And a question over here.
Just a question for you guys from AWL with your microchipping days that you said you had 700 chips or something or other. What number of cats have you been able to microchip in, like out in your microchipping days?
I don't have the numbers, but there has been more dogs, definitely more dogs than cats. So I'd probably say, at least 3/4 of them have been dogs.
Yeah.
But definitely cats are there, but predominantly dogs.
Yep, none of them fighting. And the other thing that I guess I'd like to say to everybody, so I'm Rose from 10 Lives Cat Centre. Our centre's just recently launched an education program called EduCat, which is linked to the Australian curriculum and embedded in Science STEM challenges for K to Year 7. And the program changes, it's responsible cat ownership, sorry. But it's just teaching kids how to look after cats and the importance of desexing and microchipping and containment and protecting our wildlife and keeping our neighbours happy and all those things. Teachers love it. It's a pick and go program for the teachers, so they've got a guidebook and then they've got the activities that they can do with the kids, and then the kids get workbooks, and it's designed so then that material goes home with other messages that, continues on improving people's relationships and how they can care for their pets in the home. We were hoping to deliver it this year at G2Z, but the timing was just not right. So we just didn't feel confident enough. We haven't got anything measurable on the program, but all the feedback we're getting from education departments and the Minister from Education in Tasmania is they're loving the program. So we will be looking at how we can get that out to other organisations around the country because it's an Australian curriculum program. So what we teach in Tassie is the same as you guys do in any other state. So I guess I'm wanting to let you know of its existence rather than people reinventing the wheel, because it's cost us a fair bit of money to get it to the level that it is. So if anyone wants to, talk to me about that further, you know who I am, or drop an email into the centre about it.